Hey, friends. Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. How are you? How are you? Welcome, welcome. Welcome on this very special day. Good morning, Jamie. Hi, John. Sharon, good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning, Donna. How are you? Hope everybody's doing well out there. On this day of Epiphany, the 6th day of January. Very exciting. We have oh, look at the hearts. Look at love. I'm feeling the love, feeling the warm. That this day is a great day in the church. It is one of the beautiful days of our tradition. And I want to talk about some of the traditions of it. So I hope you are well and you are enjoying this day. Have an eye appointment this afternoon. Very nice. Glad. Good morning, Sherry Ladd. How are you? Great. I'm glad you're well. I saw a couple of pictures of those grandkids the other day. That Brianna's like what, 27 now? Like holy smokes. So, good morning, Irene. How are you? Hope you're well. So, oh goodness, goodness. Welcome everybody. Welcome. See a few more people finding their way in. We'll give them a chance to come along here. I'm excited to talk about theophany today. That's right, I said theophany. It's one of those big theological words. Amanda Wellington, she's my favorite. Don't tell anybody. So that good morning, good morning. Teaching chemistry. This is a good break. Yes, it is a good break from teaching. Anything's a good break from teaching chemistry as far as I'm concerned, but that's me. So I hope these days are going well. I hope your trip was grand. The pictures look great. I hope it was warm and fun and all the things that you hoped, Amy. That's terrific. So good. So good, everybody. See if one more or two folks coming along. We'll give them a chance to show up here, and then we will get going this morning. It is such a fun day. So we are here. I thought I was your favorite. All right, we are on the fifth. It was a wonderful campaign. Ah, that's great. We are today on the 6th day of January. 6th day of January. This is known as Epiphany. The end last night was 12th night, and today is the day in which we find ourselves in the midst of the theophany. Now, that's a big theological word, and what does it mean? And there's lots of traditions that go around it. One of the fun things about, one of the joys of being the pastor of First Congregational Church here in Fall River is that Fall River is one of the is the largest Portuguese community outside of Portugal, and so as a non-Portuguese guy, it is so delicious to be able to kind of enjoy the feast and the festivals and the spectacles of this kind of deep and cultural tradition that's around us, and there's lots of other ones too. But it's and so this is what is known in Portuguese Tres Reis. This is Three Kings Day, and so which gives us tips our hand a little more, isn't it? That we have on this day the at the end of the 12 days of Christmas, we come to this day where the Magi from the East show up. So now, what does this all mean? Why am I talking about this? Why I'm excited about this? And then we'll get to, we're gonna have a snack today. That's the nice thing about today is we get a snack, but we'll get to the snack in a minute. But I want to just start with the Bible, because that's never a bad place to start, and just to remind us of the visitation of the Magi. Like, I know, Matt preached on it a few weeks ago, and you may have heard it, but I just want to remind us, just to bring us back to this is where this comes from. After Jesus was born in the Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose, and we have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all of Jerusalem with him. And when he had called together all the people's chief priests and the teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem, and "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I may go and worship him too." After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. The theophany. The theophany means the recognition, the appearance of God in the world. And the idea of theophany is way more ancient than Jesus the Christ. That we find theophany all the way back into the Iliad. We find theophany all the way back in that God shows up in the world. We find this idea, but it never is complete. It's always this, one part of the, one of the gods or one of the. But in this theophany, we find the recognition, the appearance of the deity in an observable way in the world. We find God coming into the world. And now you can say, well, didn't that happen? Like, haven't we been doing this all of Christmas? In a way, but the thing about the Magi and the thing about this day is that it is the recognition to the world. Remember, like who's seen it so far? Mary and Joseph, right? Well, Mary and Joseph, outside of the angels and stuff, Mary and Joseph, they're stuck with Jesus. They're not to say they don't love baby Jesus and all that. It's just to say that this is not, of course they're going to adore this child that has come to them. And the shepherds, okay, the animals, okay. But that's not a recognition of in and of the world that other than something very local. When the Magi shows up, it is this gear shift. It is this epiphany. It is this opening that says this little child is going to blow the world open. Things are not going to be the same when we encounter Jesus Christ in this world. Things are not going to be as they used to be. That this is God present in the world right here with us in the fullness of being. Now that's something to contend with. That's something to live into. That's so this notion that we might come and find God in the world right here with us right now, and we might go on that journey. I love the Three Kings, and I love the fact that it's a huge deal in this town, the Three Kings Day. Like I went to buy a king cake the other day, and it's gonna be our snack, and there was actually none available. Like we had to go outside the city just to find a king cake because there's so many, because they were all bought up at this point. That there are so many different pieces and parts of this journey. But my favorite, and I think the one that's kind of maybe most real for us right now, is just this notion that the kings, the wise men, probably come from Iran, Persia, maybe Babylon, somewhere out in there. And they take this long circuitous route. It's not a straight ride. They have to go up the Euphrates Valley and back down into Jerusalem to find their way. So we talk about them following the star, but in reality, they're not following a star at all. They are navigating the best that they know. And if you've ever been in that part of the world, and I have been, there are these things called haboobs. And a haboob comes through, and it's really what it's called. I'm not making that up. I'm not being cheeky. It's really called a haboob. It is an entire wall of sandstorm whipped up. We had one, when I was in Iraq, we had one huge one come through, and I actually went and looked at it like on the weather satellite Google, and it went all the way from northern Syria down into southern Iran, and all completely across the country of Iraq. That's how big these storms will become. And they literally are a wall. They're like a front that comes through, and they whip up this storm. And literally you can't see, sometimes 10, 15 feet in front of you. And the whole world turns orange. The kings certainly journeyed through this kind of weather. They certainly walked through this sort of stuff. The lesson, I think, of theophany, the lesson of finding God in this world, and there's many, and you could spend a lifetime just on this image alone, digging it deeper and wider. But what I want to share with you today is just this notion that if we think about the wise men and we send the postcards of the three camels and the star in the east, and kind of following along, just easily and diligently. But the reality of the journey and the reality of our journeys is that very often we are stuck in our own haboobs. We are stuck in the sand and grit and wind and weather of the confusion of our days, of the difficulty of seeing the way ahead and seeing God in this world. We're struck again and again by things that would disorient us. And the invitation if we're going to find divinity in this world and divinity incarnate in our lives, we're going to find God in our lives. We're going to find God born in the world right here and right now amongst the flesh. We will endure. So we will walk sometimes without our star. And that walking without the star, not being able to see your star, is not a sin. It's not a problem. It's not even it's not even it's not even what we're supposed to be able to overcome. It's simply what we signed up for. It's simply what it means to be in this world, is that sometimes it will be absent from us. And the beauty of the traditions around the Three Kings is that here we are at the end of Christmas. Here we are in this, and the great celebration of the reminder again and again and again that God comes to us around the table, that God comes to us. And so I have that, and God comes to us. So I have a king cake. This is what's called a king cake. The rosca de reyes, bread of the, king's bread, I think is kind of the translation of it. So if you look at it, it is, and this is why it's a beautiful tradition. If you look at it, It is in the shape of a circle, and there's a number of reasons for the symbology of the circle, as you know, but the biggest one being that it is a king's crown, and that on this, if you look at it, it's actually there are these little there are the these are jewels on the king's crown, these little pieces of fruit, and so that it is this living testament that we are to eat and take in. Now, here's the fun thing about this. The fun thing is that on the inside of this somewhere is a little baby. There's a little baby figurine in here someplace, and we're going to see if I can get it. But inside here is the little baby figurine, and if you get the baby figurine, your job is to host the next party. You see, this is about coming together around the table. And I know that for many of us that's a great challenge right now. But we always and ever have to remember that it is this in this coming together. It is this that we find Jesus the Christ, that we find the divine theophany. We find God born into this world. And however we come together, whether it's some Facebook chat that you have going or whatever ways it is we're coming together, it is this discovery of the Christ child in the midst of our feasting. It is such a beautiful image. Because you don't know, it does nobody. There's no sign there that says what piece of cake has the baby in it, what piece or part is in it. It is simply in the midst of our feasting, in the midst of our gathering, the baby Jesus shows up, and that's theophany, friends. That's theophany. That is how God comes to us. It is in the midst of our journeying here, our time together, our wonderment, that we're finding our own way to find this time with the baby Jesus. And so I'm going to cut a piece of cake. It's actually really more bread. If you go to New Orleans, you'll find this is kind of more of a bready stuff. If you go to New Orleans, you'll find it's more cake. It's like it's almost like a sheet cake there. So it's a tradition that's all over the world, but no baby for me yet. So, but it is delicious and sweet and good and right. And it comes after our journeying through the hubbubs of life. It comes in these surprising moments. Not that we might wear a crown, but we might discover the baby Jesus in the midst of holding up the royalty of coming around the table. And the beauty of this is that if you keep this tradition, it happens again and again and again. Is that throughout Epiphany, whoever it is that got the baby this week, well, they'll end up getting the baby next, like you'll end up hosting next. And it is the grand and true gift of understanding that God's grace, God's love, God's incarnation is exactly what we're called to, is to be hospitable, to be an open table, to be a devourer of the holy jewels of beauty. And in doing that, oh man, that's good. Oh, candied little fruit. Oh, I'm sorry. That we end up in our feasting, in our life, being surprised by the baby Jesus right in the midst of it. So my invitation to you today on this Three Kings Day, on this holy day, that on this Epiphany, that you reach out, that you find a way to create your own table, whether it's virtual, digital, whether it's live, however you do it, that you come and you break a little bread with people that you love. that you find a way to be surprised by the baby Jesus somewhere in your feasting and your connection, and that you recognize that if you find yourself right now in the middle of your own sandstorm, if you find yourself in the middle of that, that you're not doing something wrong, that you're not broken, that you're not somehow unfaithful. You are simply walking out what it is to follow a star and to look for the Lord in this world. All right, friends. Happy Epiphany, everyone. It is such a joy that you're here. Nobody likes. I am so glad. Let me look at the comments. Everybody was chatting away there, and I got talking. I want to see what. Creepy. It's not creepy. Oh, the fun thing about the baby too. This is a PS FYI. The fun thing is that the next person that hosts often has to dress the baby up, and so there's different ways. So you can like dress them up in all kinds of different ways. But not only do you host the baby, not only do you have the baby as you're in the next party, but you have to dress the baby. And again, another beautiful image that it's not just ours to spend a little time with the baby Jesus, but it's also ours to make a place for him in this world and give him a little clothes and give him a little love. So anyway, so glad. Wish we were devouring the goodness. You do wish you were devouring the goodness with me, because I'm just totally having another piece of this. It's so good. Donna's seen her mom today. That's so great. It's so great. The sandstorm is creepy. Yes, the sandstorm is super creepy. If I can find a picture, I'll post it in the comments today. It is one of the weirdest kind of experiences. Hello, everybody. Hey, Robin. Who did I not get to greet today? Hi, Vicky. Glad you made it. So, Seth, glad you're here. Good to see you, brother. Oh, goodness. So glad everybody's here. So glad that we got to gather around this table together today. So glad that we got to look for the baby in the midst of the feast. We got to see, and maybe, just maybe, I hope these few minutes have been a point and a moment when maybe you, in a comment or in a thought, got a glimpse of God in the flesh today. If it didn't happen here, I'm going to pray it happens for you somewhere along the way on this Epiphany Day. All right, friends, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace and grace, everybody.